Jacoby.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, though?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together, we're Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2 at 2 p.m. What do?
We give the people what they want.
If the people wanted an epic weekend of NFL playoff excitement, that is exactly what they got, and it all ended in the most insane way possible. Case Keenum threw this pass to Stephon Diggs, and he caught it, and he turned, and he ran into the end zone for the very first walk-off touchdown to end regulation in the history of the NFL playoffs. As Stephon Diggs was running towards the end zone, what was going through your mind, Jalen?
Wow, initially, because watching it real time, you anticipate that pass probably is going to be incomplete. It was completed. If it is completed, is he going to be able to get out of bounds?
Oh, he's going to be tackled in bounds if it's completed.
If he is inbounds and he does get tackled, will they be able to get the field goal unit on in time to actually kick a long field goal because they have a really good field goal kicker?
No chance. Kai Forbath.
And so when you see him running to the end zone, looking around for defenders like the game is over, I now say somebody messed that up.
Oh, I was looking at like there's got to be another defender back there. Like if he was that open to catch that pass, there has to be a safety that they put on the goal line. There has to be someone that's going to chase him down. There has to be a flag on the play. I just kept looking like there's no way that this actually happened. And it felt like all the Vikings fans in the place I was at, all the Vikings players kind of had that same feeling. Like you could see them just kind of looking around. The celebration was a little subdued from what I expected it to be just because it was so miraculous. Now let's turn the attention to Marcus Williams, the safety, the rookie safety who made an interception earlier in the game and missed this tackle. What do you think he was trying to do, and what did he end up doing?
Hit the brakes.
Okie dokie.
Did you say missed a tackle? Is that what you call that?
He missed a tackle.
What he did is what people like me who aren't physical enough, too scared to actually play physical football would do. You run to the play, and then you run past the play.
You run to the play, and then you just kind of fall down.
And you hope somebody else gets him to the ground. The problem is, not only did he not locate the ball in all seriousness, he didn't keep his eyes up, his chest up, allow him to catch the ball, which, by the way, terrific throw by Case Keenum.
Yep, great throw.
Great catch by Stephon Diggs.
Absolutely.
Great dexterity to actually spin and get towards the end zone. I'm not overlooking any of that.
Of course.
But however, you have to get him on the ground when he makes that play. When you whiff and you take out your old man like a bowling pin, and all of a sudden he runs off to the end zone, man, that's a poor way to end your rookie season.
It really is. I mean, if there's ever a time where you should really break down and wrap up and just make sure you drag that defender down, make sure you at least slow that receiver enough to have your teammates come and help in the gang tackle. It just seems like, I don't know, maybe diving at the outside of his legs might have not been the smartest thing to do. But it's so easy to say that now. And I just want to salute the Minnesota Vikings for giving us a legendary playoff win. And let's be honest, let's be real. A lot of people are rooting for those Vikings against the Philadelphia Eagles next week. But one game that was even more surprising than that last-second Vikings win was the Steelers and the Jaguars. Let's be honest, let's be real. We all thought it was going to be a rematch between the Steelers and the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. We all thought that in the media. A lot of fans thought that. But you know who didn't think that? Mr. Campbell. Let's listen to Calais Campbell.
We try to just win any way we can, play one play at a time, and execute, but I take it, 2-0 if it comes that way, or 45-42 if it comes that way, As long as we win, I'm happy.
How did Calais Campbell predict exactly the final score of this game, Jalen?
Crazy. I need to ask him what the 4-digit number gonna be. You know what I'm saying? How about this, however? Going into these playoffs, you always talk about the notable QBs, and rightfully so.
Of course.
Tom Brady's the only one left standing. All of the other ones had multiple question marks. And for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who had been a team clearly led by their defense, for the score to be so outstanding, I appreciated how the game began. Jacksonville played true to their identity. 4th down, 2 yards to go. We're going for it. And not only are we going for it, we're going to run the ball. We're going to rely on the 2 things that got us here. Our run game and our defense. And before you know it, they were putting points on the board. Fournette goes out with injury. You have to give the Pittsburgh Steelers credit by the way they came back. Big Ben, 5 INTs the first time they faced one another. 5 TDs this time they played against each other. Nobody except Calais Campbell could have picked a score that way. But you talked about who overlooked the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think you left out the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin was talking about playing against the Pats. Oh, Mike Mitchell mentioned he loved the chance to play against the Pats. Le'Veon Bell loves to play in the second round of the playoffs, and he wants to get his bread. The problem is the Jacksonville Jaguars were listening, and a team that thumped them early in the season in Pittsburgh were able to return the favor in the playoffs and knock them out.
And I want to salute, there's so much attention today on the 4th and 1 sweep and the 4th and 1 throw and in the onside kick and these decisions that the Steelers made to supposedly lose the game. The Jacksonville Jaguars won that game. And you mentioned when the momentum was not going their way at the end of the first half, Fournette got injured and just felt like that the Steelers offense was going to score touchdown after touchdown and eventually win the game. The Jacksonville Jaguars kept stopping them and kept scoring touchdowns. They won the game, and I'm very excited for the impending game between the Jaguars and the Patriots. But before that, we have the Philadelphia Eagles holding the Atlanta Falcons to 10 points. That Falcons offense to 10 points. And there were the Falcons on the goal line trying to score, to win the game, to have their Stephon Diggs moment. And Julio Jones could not catch the ball in the end zone. What did you think about the Falcons-Eagles game in Philly?
Literally, when this happened, I called up a friend of mine who's a collegiate football coach because I was confused that Matt Ryan was last year's league MVP. Julio Jones is an all-world receiver, the best in the game, yet they're terrible at connecting in the red zone.
They cannot.
And when you look at the first down play, Randy Moss said exactly what my friend the coach said. It was a great breakdown. I needed to know this. On first down, they did it out of shotgun. And you notice when Julio Jones goes up for the ball, it's almost like he double clutches. Almost like they lost the timing. As opposed to if he would have went straight under center, you do that 3-5 step drop, all of a sudden now boom, the timing is better. The same exact thing happened with his hands on the final play. It almost looked like he double clutched, couldn't get the timing, and in theory it looks like it goes through his hands, and nothing goes through Julio Jones' hands. So for those two guys to not be able to connect at the biggest moment of the season, and they hadn't been able to do it the entire year, I know what they're going to be working on this all season. So you have to give kudos definitely to the Philadelphia Eagles and their defense. I see you, Brandon Graham, representing the city, bossing up. Just like Jalen Ramsey, I see you, Mr. Mills, in Philly doing your thing. And the way the Eagles have played defensively at home, I wouldn't be surprised if we fly, Eagles, fly on to the Super Bowl.
Well, you mentioned how well the Eagles play at home. In this game, they were actually underdogs, and some of the Eagles celebrated this after the game by wearing these masks. I like the masks, but are they cool or are they creepy?
I like the mask, but when human beings are that large, they just look a little small.
The masks do look a little small, especially with the shoulder pads and everything. It does look a little out of place.
That's the first thing that jumped out to me. But again, blue-collar football is back. Blue-collar football is back. 3 of the teams don't have celebrity quarterbacks. They win with defense, running game, controlling the time, and finding ways to be successful and get stops when they need to.
And finally, very quickly, the least entertaining game of the weekend went kind of the way we thought it would, with the Patriots dominating the Titans. The Patriots defense had 8 sacks and Matt Patricia leads that defense. Matt Patricia is reportedly going to be the new head coach of your Detroit Lions. How excited are you to have Patricia patrolling the sidelines?
You got to follow the tea leaves. Once the Detroit Lions signed an executive from the Patriots to come be the general manager, you knew it was inevitable that they were going to hire one of their coaches. I just hope that this doesn't become one of those Patriot hype moves to where you get a chance to be a defensive coordinator under Bill Belichick. It's going to lend to you getting great opportunities, and rightfully so, because they've been successful for so very long. I'm just hoping that he can now bring that level of success to my Detroit Lions. I like his look. It kind of embodies the city, the grizzly beard, the toothpick, or a pen in his mouth and his ear, a pencil in his ear. I'm not mad at that. We're going to welcome him with open arms. I'm excited that the Detroit Lions got a viable coach that many teams were hoping to acquire this offseason.
We'll be back with more on Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN2. When the Philadelphia 76ers picked Markelle Fultz #1 in the draft.
Where?
#1 in the draft. And then he started playing actual NBA basketball games, and his jump shot looked pretty broken. Well, guess what? We've got new video of Markelle Fultz shooting jump shots. There he is in the background. Shot still looks pretty broken, Jalen Rose. Still looks pretty broken. Jalen, Coach Brett Brown had something to say about this as well. When asked what he needs physically to come back to the NBA game, here's what Brett Brown said about Markelle Fultz. He said, quote, "I think what he needs is to be able to shoot a basketball. I don't know what % we're going to apply that comment, but he needs to feel he can go and shoot a basketball. To just render it that free throw is pretty good, and it is. And to only go that far without talking about some of the other pieces is not what we are looking at, and I know he isn't looking at that." Jalen, what is going on with Markelle Fultz?
From what I'm hearing, basically, once Fultz got drafted, his personal trainer decided that they wanted to make a change to his shot.
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen to the coach's commentary, he's basically distancing himself from the scenario, saying he needs to be able to make a shot, not we need to help him work on his jump shot.
Ooh, I like what you're doing there.
Because a lot of people felt like he wasn't playing because he was injured. And yes, there were some times that he did need to get as far as rehab and to get himself back ready to play.
Yep.
But there also has been a period of time where he's actually been practicing with the team, able to play in NBA games, but not playing in NBA games for the reason you just said. If I'm said player, in this case Markelle Fultz, when I walk across the stage and I'm the #1 pick and I'm not a bust and I can buy my mother a house, guess the last thing I'm gonna do? Change my jump shot.
Yeah, I don't know why you would do that.
If Lonzo Ball ain't changing his jump shot,
Exactly. If Lonzo Ball's still doing that,
and they done won 4 straight, I'm trying to tell you, I don't understand why Markelle Fultz, who was a shooter in college, a really good free throw shooter as well, decided to change his shot. But because it's become so broken and his confidence is so down, now they don't feel like they can put him in games and he can be productive. But we talk a lot about the process. Imagine if they would have taken Tatum. Imagine if they would have taken Donovan Mitchell.
Who knows?
Imagine if they had taken Dennis Smith Jr.
Well, they didn't. They took Markelle Fultz and his broken jump
Imagine
shot.
they take Lauri Markkanen. Shall I go on?
Well, I'm going to move on, Jalen. I'm going to move over to Lithuania, where the controversial Ball family made their professional debut. The first time LiAngelo and LaMelo Ball had ever played professional basketball. Guess what? It did not go well. LiAngelo played 9 minutes. Melo played about just over 5 minutes. They combined to score 0 points and went 0 for 7 from the field. You'll never believe this, Jalen Rose. But LeVar Ball was critical of the coaches after the game, saying that they need to play my boys at the same time. Jalen, I predict that the Ball family will be back on American soil by Valentine's Day. How long do you think this experiment will last in Lithuania?
We felt individually different times, but we acknowledged that we didn't think this was going to happen the entire season, and that's obvious. I like your Valentine's Day pick because here's the deal. Once you decide to go play professional basketball in Lithuania for a coach that can't speak English, for a team that can barely find somewhere to consistently practice, and sometimes has issue meeting payroll.
Financial requirements, yep.
Here's what's gonna happen. They're gonna show up and be so upset with the team when they're not getting paid to play. And so LeVar now is gonna have to get in front of A, they're not balling and putting up numbers.
No, they're not.
B, I'm not at Laker games. I'm over here. We're in Lithuania right now. When I could be Big Baller Brandon in the United States. I think this experiment is going to go poorly overall. And like you, feel like they'll be back home sooner than expected.
Well, last week, LeVar Ball made a lot of noise and was always controversial because of some of the things he said about Luke Walton and saying that the players don't want to play for Luke Walton. Well, as they always do, Magic Johnson and Jeannie Buss sent these tweets in full support of Coach Luke Walton, saying they're playing the best basketball of the season and saying hashtag in Luke we trust. However, Brian Windhorst is reporting that the Lakers could potentially try to replace Windhorst with Fizdale. Jalen, how much do you believe in this public support of Luke Walton?
I believe in it for now. The NBA coaching fraternity understands this isn't a lifetime job. And the NBA made no coaching changes for any team this offseason. That's going to change this year, during the season, as well as the offseason. There will be at least 5 or 6 new coaches in the league next year standing on the sideline. I, however, don't think the Lakers are going to be one unless they feel like the star player that they're trying to attract also wants said coach. For those people, in my opinion, that think LeBron James is going to leave Cleveland just to go play in L.A. for a coach he hand selects, he doesn't have to. He has that in Cleveland.
Exactly.
He doesn't have to leave.
He can hand select everything in Cleveland. Coach Fizdale is not going to make LeBron James go to Los Angeles. If anything, he would make Coach Fizdale go to Cleveland. Right now, we're going to go to commercial, but when we come back, we're going to preview the big game between LeBron and those Cavs.
Shout to Fizdale, shout to Mark Jackson, shout to Monty Williams.
And play.
They all will be head coaches in the league next year.
To Jalen and Jacoby, Klay Thompson is known for his accuracy from distance. But watch this video. There's his teammate, JaVale McGee, getting off the plane. Klay Thompson going to ambush him with a snowball and misses wildly. What's more disappointing, Klay Thompson missing with the snowball or the fact that JaVale McGee carries a pillow with him on plane rides?
The pillow's more disturbing.
Thank you.
Klay grew up on the West Coast.
That's right,
So
not a lot of
I'm not
snowball
surprised that he's not used to being able to function when snow's on the ground. I'm from the Midwest. You're from the East Coast. That's what we were bred to do. Now, JaVale.
Why are you carrying a pillow? A gigantic pillow? Come
There
on,
are only
man.
specific things in life where people never have to open their mouth, and I judge them. And as somebody that travels a lot, when I see someone carrying a pillow, I do judge them.
You don't need your
lie.
own pillow. There are already pillows on the plane. I know you've got a long neck, JaVale McGee, and you're tall. You've got all these excuses. But come on, man. You don't need to carry your own pillow. How long is that flight? You're not going to Qatar. You know what I mean? Like you're going on a 90-minute flight. You don't need your own pillow, JaVale. Oh, that bothers me too. Moving on. There's a huge game tonight. The Cleveland Cavaliers host champion Warriors, who will come out and play yay. However, the Cavs have lost 3 in a row. They've lost 7 of their last 10. Do the Cavs' struggles take a little bit out of this matchup for you?
They do not. And on MLK Day, for everyone enjoying a day off or for those like ourselves that are working, I challenge you. Find your favorite MLK quote and why you're inspired by him and his legacy. With that being said, the Golden State Warriors are clearly a better basketball team. However, the Cleveland Cavaliers, this is a measuring stick game. In particular for the others, Isaiah Thomas, Crowder, Jeff Green,
Korver.
Can J.R. Smith get going? These are the type of games that now can probably boost their confidence. and or if they get thumped, it sends a message by the Warriors to let them know, y'all can go ahead and win the East if y'all want to. We're going to handle y'all when the finals come. Exciting theater. Can't wait to watch.
Your guy, Jalen Ramsey of the Jags, had this to say after their big win against the Steelers. Quote, "It ain't got much to say, but make sure y'all bring the same energy out next week and the week after. We are going to the Super Bowl, and we are going to win that bleep. We are going to win that bleep." Jalen, do you think his teammates are upset with him for predicting a Super Bowl win, or do you think they're upset with him for not knowing that there's a week off between the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl?
Oh, they don't care about the week off because nobody watches the Pro Bowl anyway.
Okay.
Whether it's Ramsey, Rose, or Mills, it's a prerequisite for Jalen to have something to say.
They always talk too much. Jalen's all
to
talk
have
too
some
much.
level of personality. I
We'll
might
be
get my
back
hair blue
on
and gold.
Wednesday to leave you a dope pod to step to.